The restaurant was alive with the soft hum of jazz and the clinking of fine glasses, a place where the air itself seemed expensive. But among the suits, laughter, and glittering chandeliers, one young woman moved quietly, her black uniform slightly faded, her shoes worn out at the edges, her smile polite but tired. Her name was Sophia. No one really noticed her, not the rich couples taking photos of their food, not the men in suits talking business over expensive wine. But that night, someone did. He sat alone near the bar, wearing a dark tailored suit, tattoos crawling up his neck like silent whispers of a past no one dared to ask about. His name was Matteo De Luca, a man whose mere presence could silence a room. To the world, he was a businessman. But everyone in the city knew who really ran things when the lights went out. Sophia didn't know. To her, he was just another customer, another man ordering espresso after dinner. She didn't even look him in the eye when she served it, keeping her head slightly bowed, the way she always did. She'd learned long ago that people didn't like being truly seen. But fate has strange timing. As she was about to walk away, her phone rang. The sound was low, soft, but in the quiet between jazz notes, it carried. She froze. Her manager hated when staff answered calls during shifts, but something about the name flashing on the screen, Nana, made her heart race. She turned slightly, pressed the phone to her ear, and whispered, "Si, Nana, sto bene. Ti chiamo dopo, va bene." The sound of her gentle Italian voice broke through the air like a forgotten melody. Matteo looked up. His hand froze on the espresso cup mid-sip. The voice, it wasn't just Italian, it was warmth, music, and something hauntingly familiar. Before we go deeper, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of unexpected connections, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Thread. Every small click helps more hearts find stories like this one. Sophia hung up quickly, cheeks flushed with embarrassment, unaware that every word she'd spoken had reached the men she'd just served. She whispered a quiet apology to no one in particular and went back to clearing the next table. But Matteo kept watching. To anyone else, he looked calm, even cold. But inside, something stirred, a memory, a face, a feeling. His mother's voice used to sound just like that when she called him home for dinner, years before the violence, before the empire, before the men he'd become replaced the boy he once was. Later that evening, the restaurant started to empty. Sophia was cleaning a table near the window when Matteo's voice, deep and controlled, broke the silence. "Waitress," he said softly. "A glass of water." She turned, nodded, and brought it to him. As she placed it down, their eyes met for the first time. Hers were brown, tired but kind. His were sharp, calculating, but in that brief glance, something melted. She smiled slightly, the kind of smile people give when they're just trying to make it through the night. He noticed the small scars on her hand, signs of burns from the kitchen, probably, and the way her hands trembled as she adjusted the glass. "Long shift?" he asked quietly. She nodded, unsure why her heart was beating faster. "Every night," she replied softly. He didn't say anything else, just watched her walk away. And for reasons he couldn't explain, he didn't want her to. As the night wore on, Matteo stayed longer than usual. He overheard Sophia laughing faintly with another waiter, talking about sending money back home to her grandmother. He learned she worked double shifts, that she never complained, that she always offered her co-workers part of her meal. He saw the way she wiped every table with care, as if every guest mattered. In a world filled with lies, greed, and betrayal, this small act of genuine kindness hit him harder than a bullet. Around midnight, a storm began outside. The other customers left quickly, and only a few staff remained. Matteo sat there, still and silent, staring out the window as rain hit the glass. When Sophia came to collect his bill, he noticed her struggling with a call on her phone again. This time her expression had changed. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Nana, calma, sto arrivando." Matteo's eyes narrowed. "Is everything okay?" he asked, his tone softer now. Tears welled in her eyes, but she forced a smile. "My grandmother, she fell. I need to go." She turned quickly, fumbling for her bag. Her manager began to protest, reminding her she couldn't leave mid-shift, but before anyone could stop her, Matteo spoke firmly. "Let her go." The room went silent. Even the manager froze. Sophia looked at him, confused but grateful. She whispered, "Thank you," and rushed out into the rain. Hours passed. The restaurant closed, but Matteo didn't leave. Something about that girl lingered in his mind. Her voice. Her eyes. Her kindness. He thought of all the people who feared him, respected him, obeyed him, but no one had looked at him the way she did. Without judgment. Without knowing who he was. Just a man, sitting alone. The next morning, he found himself outside a small apartment on the edge of the city, where an old woman lived. His driver was confused, but Matteo only said, "Wait here." He knocked on the door. Sophia opened it, eyes swollen, still wearing the same uniform from last night. She froze. "You?" He nodded. "I came to see if she's okay." Her grandmother was lying on the couch, smiling weakly. Sophia explained that she had slipped in the kitchen, but the doctor said she'd recover. Matteo quietly placed a small envelope on the table. "For her medicine," he said simply. Sophia shook her head. "No, I can't take that." He looked at her gently. "You help everyone. Let someone help you for once." That moment changed everything. Over the next few days, Matteo visited again, sometimes bringing groceries, sometimes just sitting quietly, listening to the grandmother's stories in Italian. Sophia couldn't understand why a man like him cared, but slowly, she saw the loneliness in his eyes. The guilt he carried. The walls he'd built. And he, in turn, found light in her presence. She spoke with honesty, laughed without pretending, and reminded him that kindness didn't need power, it needed courage. One evening, as they stood outside her building watching the sunset, Sophia told him softly, "You don't have to live in the dark to feel safe." For a man who'd built his empire on fear, those words broke him from the inside. Later that night, at one of his usual gatherings, when his men asked about the waitress, Matteo simply said, "Don't let her leave." They thought he meant ownership, but he meant something else entirely. For the first time, he didn't want to lose someone because of who he was. He wanted to protect her, not possess her. That night, Sophia returned home to find a small note slipped under her door. It read, "Your kindness reminded a lost man what it means to feel human again. M." If this story touched your heart or reminded you that even the coldest souls can change when shown warmth, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Thread. Your support helps us spread more stories that heal and inspire. And before this story ends, I want to ask you something special. Comment below what kindness means to you. Because sometimes, it takes just one small act, a smile, a word, or a phone call in Italian, to change a heart that's been silent for too long.